This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Let's go!
Buena, weón!
What a shot! Ay, ay, ay!
Get ready for a whole lot of vamos because the Latin American team is heading to Champions Los Angeles, and the only question is, which one? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VCT Americas Last Chance Qualifier Grand Final live from the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles, California. I'm Golden Boy, joined at the desk yet again by Sean Gares. We have Mimi, and we have the guards, Valen, here to close out a stupendous LCQ. And might I say, what an LCQ this has been, because Mimi, I genuinely did not believe that we would be at this point two Latin American teams that are going to be fighting for a spot of champions.
I don't remember the last time that there was like two LATAM teams that we actually felt like we're on even playing field. It was always one team's better, one team's weaker. And for the first time, honestly, I have no idea which one of these squads is going to take that top spot and send themselves to champions.
The crazy thing is that, like you're saying, Crew gets a 2-ban advantage in this best of 5 today. But I still think Leviatán is like 50-50 with them, right? These teams are playing so well. And it's been such a turnaround story for both of them. Even Leviatán, even though they made the playoffs, I think we were kind of writing them off a little bit coming into LCQ, and boy, did they prove us wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, both teams have been looking like favorites actually this whole entire event, and I want to talk about the double ban advantage because Leviatán has been permabanning Ascent, but a lot of times in the past, Leviatán has been incredible on Ascent, so I feel like it's really not as big as an advantage as we think, and it's going to be a great matchup just because their permaban actually isn't that much of a weakness, and both teams have been looking so good, grinding out the nuances in practice, figuring out their mistakes because they both kind of came from the ground up, losing a lot. And now we're going to see who hit their final form, who's the better team, and I'm excited to see the results.
Yeah, especially when you consider the fact that in the history of VCT, right, that 2-ban advantage usually dictates, not usually, I mean, it does dictate who would win typically because it's such a huge advantage. So to hear that is going to make this match even more exciting here. But of course, we want to know what you guys think because we care about you. And we want to know who you think is going to win today's final. Make sure you use those hashtags VALORANT LCQ as well as VCT so that we can feature your tweets on the broadcast. And they won't be called tweets anymore. They'll be called X's. I don't know. No one cares about that anymore. That being said, though, everyone called this bracket wrong, including us. Let's actually go ahead and take a look back.
I mean, guys, this should just be like the story of the Cloud9 redemption arc. Like, they almost made it to Tokyo. Clear favorite for the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, surely they're about to clean house and lock up that last slot, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least we have the Clout match to look forward to.
Match of the century.
That should be funnish.
I mean, you know what, though? It actually would be nice to, like, get an upset, you know, spice things up a little bit. It'd be fun.
Okay, what if, hear me out.
Okay.
What if Crew went on a run?
Wow.
What if Crew went on a run?
It's not going to happen, right?
The showstopper out. Klaus also spikes that down. The plant coming down, and that's a 14 and 8 for Klaus. RGL now B. The shield! Symbolize that for the Red Bull clutch. True gets it done. Oh, Davies once again on fire on the attack with the operator. And reload, but then it's late. Oh, like, no! And Mauser gets the Red Bull clutch. And fully up to Nosworth. Showstopper out. 10 second feet of Nosworth. Catches it with 4 kills.
The alarm bot gonna give his position away. The double face! And Davies takes him down! Turns out this David has a stone and a slingshot of his own. Crew keep their glass slipper and take down Cloud9.
Ascend may have been the winner of Champions 2021, but the story of the show was the Cinderella run of a Latin American squad. Crew and the rise of their players like Kesnet, Klaus, and Nags. They went on a crazy run there, but in 2022, things changed. Crew's coach, Onur, moves over to Leviatán, brings out a new roster stacked with fresh Chilean talent, and he pushes them to the international stage, where they usurp Crew and become the best Latin American team. Spikes were dropped and stars were made, and it looked like they would always be on top. For Crew, though, after a disappointing first year in VCT Americas, going 0-10 to start, it seemed as though neither of these squads would compete for a global title in 2023. But then, the impossible happened, and now both of these LATAM squads find themselves in the grand final, playing for a chance at champions. I'm joined now by RKT and Dan from the LATAM broadcast to talk about the history of this matchup that really is the El Clasico of the scene. And Dan, to start with you, for these two teams, it's always been one on top, one competing internationally. And this is the first time in ages that both squads have been competitive at an international level.
Yeah, exactly. Every time you think of Latin America, you think of early LATAM in VALORANT, and you think of Crew. Then last year, started seeing a lot of Leviatán being the favorite, being the favorite to win a lot of events. And now you had a regular season when things were going back and forth between the two, but nobody was looking at the top. Now you have a Last Chance Qualifier where both of them are there putting up a fight and are looking and come from different ways, right? A Crew that almost got eliminated, made it all the way through the winner bracket, and also a Leviatán that towards the beginning, it seems like they were not going to make it here, but then they came back, they looked stronger, and they were able to push forward to the finals.
And RKT, despite the fact that both of these teams have been coached by Onur, 9 out of 10 of the players in the server have, it seems like now they have very different vibes and very different approaches to the structure of their teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Onur adds a lot of structure to their teams. In both of them, you can see that when LATAM start winning in international event, you need that kind of a structure. But we now see the approach from Atom. It's much more closer to the players and much more to make the starts from what they do good.
Yeah, and Dan as well. There's some history beyond just the coach and all the changes back and forth. So many of these players have played for both rosters in the server. How does that really deep history book add to the matchup today?
It adds so much to not only the fans that people are watching, but also the rivalry, but the friendship that the two teams have. You think of Kesnet, you think of Melser, and you also think of Onur as a coach. The way that they've been part of both of the teams, they've been having the chance to experience both of those environments that RKT was talking about. So now you have that mix of the players that we've known for such a long time and the new players coming out, the players that we're still getting to know into this squad. So you think of Nosfer, for example, a player that has never lost the Last Chance Qualifier, and he's coming in. He actually beat these players when he was playing his own Last Chance last year. So you have so many players that know each other so well, and it makes it for such an amazing match.
But despite that history, it is still the last chance, and only one of these teams can make it to champions. But RKT, that does mean a Latin American squad is guaranteed to make it. And after a brutal Masters Tokyo with no LATAM representative for the first time ever, what does it mean for the community to have that team at the biggest tournament of the year?
It was a hard blow missing Master Tokyo for LATAM, but it's great for us now. Be sure that we will have a representation in champions here in Los Angeles. It's absolutely huge. No matter which team wins, will be great for LATAM.
Well, it's still yet to be found who will be that LATAM representative at champions. But to get this day started and get us into that matchup, let's send it over to Golden Boy and the desk.
Thank you so much for that, Mimi. And yes, that sets the stage for what we are about to see. Crew versus Leviatán, a Latin American clash, El Clasico, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a great game. And let's just further dive into this here and start off with Crew, the Cinderella run, the story that everyone keeps on talking about. Started this season 0-9, but yet here they are, Sean, in a grand final, in a best of 5, playing for a spot at champions. We said that it was going to be impossible to win 5 in a row to get to this point, but this team is making the impossible actually possible.
I literally thought it was impossible, GB. The 0-9 team could run the gauntlet.
The 0-9 team?
Win 2 single-elim best of 3s, which would have to be their first 2 games they've won, and then beat, the best team in the league in Cloud9. And then now they're in the grand finals. Like, what is going on?
I can tell you what's going on. It's because they lost so much before, and they always say losing is learning, right? So those guys are like Einstein at this point. Those guys have been losing a lot, but with that, genuinely, you learn a lot about the game. You learn about each other more, how you handle losses, and you only get better. And especially in an LCQ bracket like this, where it's a win-now situation, they didn't have time to go into a lower bracket at the beginning. They dealt with the pressure, and they came out on top. And when you deal with it and come out on top, your confidence is booming. And these guys are firing on all cylinders. It's so great to see after the tragic.
Yeah. So I got a question for you, Valen. So they are riding this heater. I fully agree with that. What does this like 4 or 5 day break mean for them though? Like, does their mechanical form you feel like gonna drop? There's not many teams to play against. So do you think that's gonna play a part here? Because Leviatán got that match prep yesterday.
Yeah, as a player, I would definitely say having a longer stretch of a break before your next match kind of hinders you, but when you come out with wins, when you're feeling confident, it kind of translates when you just like practice and play the game. So they should be feeling mechanically strong even when they're just practicing during the off time, even if they're not scrimming, just playing ranked.
Yeah.
The new team deathmatch is the best team warm-up, by the way.
Yes.
We ran team deathmatch every time we were in Brazil, and we came out on top. So if they're playing TDM, they're probably going to win.
Probably.
Yeah.
But as we take a look here at the turnaround that we have seen, right? I mean, this was Crew VCT Americas, and you know, again, just not numbers that you necessarily want to write home about, but then you could see that improvement, right, from the round win rate, the first kill percentage that they were able to get as well. Like, it's just the little incremental improvements that this team has made from LCQ. And what's fascinating is we saw on the previous slide as well, like, it's not as if Crew were getting just destroyed week in and week out. No, Sean, this team actually was putting up these fights. It just, they couldn't close out. But now they seem to have solved that problem.
Yeah, if you look at like their total round differential, I mean, they're only losing by a couple rounds on average every single map that they played, which is insane for an 0-9 team, right? You would think that their round differential would be so much worse, but it was actually better than MIBR, who had won 2 series.
Yeah.
So that's like, that gives you a little bit of knowledge as for like how close they were losing some of these series. And like you said, once they got the taste of the win, I just feel like all of that pressure was lifted off of their shoulders.
Yeah.
Just ride the momentum.
And you know what? Actually, when you get that taste of the win, it actually could elevate players as well. And one player that has been absolutely lights out in this LCQ, Davies. This was a guy, Valen, coming into the year where we felt as if, what's his spot on the team? We don't know, like, where like, we just didn't see much out of him. But now, here he is showing us who this player is and what he's capable of. And I love it, man. It's been awesome to watch.
He's been incredible, but as a knower, as a player, I knew Davies was always that guy.
Okay.
We would scrim him when he wasn't on Crew, and he would play phenomenal, and once he got his first Tier 1 opportunity, he seized the moment. Every time he played the matches, even though Crew was not winning, he was performing great, even in the
he was doing what he needed to do.
Yeah, right. And now in the LCQ has been popping off, and not only stat-wise, but as his role. When you watch him play, he's very strong at anchoring sites, playing his position properly, kind of delaying for his team to rotate or to push through. He's actually one of the few Sentinels in the Tier 1 level that I really respect is just playing his role perfectly. He's not looking
4
for too
different
much.
agents.
Yeah, he's incredible.
I mean, he was locking down the Cypher on Bind. We seen him play the Killjoy on some of the maps. He played Chamber also on Haven. I mean, and then he plays KO on like Ascent.
Right. Yeah.
So he's really flexing his map pool here and putting up huge numbers for Crew. Obviously, you have to give a shout out to everyone else on the caster crew. I think they're all playing lights out, but just his flexibility, I think, allows them to do so much with their comps.
Oh, it truly does. And that has obviously played a huge role into Crew's success, but also, you know, we want to dive a little bit further into this matchup. We actually do have Sideshow and Mimi standing by to guide us through it. What you guys got?
Thank you, Golden Boy. Now, Crew, during the regular season, not known as a team that was extremely diligent, but myself and Mimi are going to walk you through one of the things that I think they did fantastically in LCQ, which was their protocols towards B-Long on Pearl. They dominated this half. I don't need to particularly go through that. But one of the things that I don't think many of you will have caught are how good their B-Long protocols were. So, a lot of the time down here, you're going to get this deep cascade. The Sky is going to be putting a flash down here. You're going to be putting a Viper Orb in this kind of spot. You've seen teams do this before. But I want to walk you through exactly what they're doing here. So to start off, I'm going to focus on the Sky. So the Sky is putting a flash through right now that if we look at the mini-map, the important thing about this flash is that it blooms about here and it gets very specific information. So a lot of teams will do this in combination with the Cascade too. The idea being if the flash catches somebody, you trailblaze because you know that someone's close on B long. And if the Sky Flash doesn't catch anything, you know that there's nobody there. Now that means you have to flash in certain spots because you don't want to catch the people on site. So in this situation, it does catch the Viper, they pop the Trailblazer, and they start pushing forwards. You can see how much Jake gets pushed away here by the Cascade, by the Trailblazer coming through as well. And here's another crucial piece of the puzzle. So I'm going to pause it here and highlight this piece of utility. This is Nag's Viper Orb, and he's picked that up from the first cross and thrown it on a lineup that is now going to bloom in a really, really powerful position for the team. I haven't seen anyone else do this, and Crew are working with it masterfully. It's going to bloom here and allow them to control B long in such an incredible fashion. It means that you can't jiggle peek this corner. You can't jiggle peek this back corner for any information down B long. And if you try to reactively push A to get some more information around the map, you are so far away if they creep up behind the Viper Orb and commit to a B exec. So we'll watch a little bit further as well, and you'll see how important this Viper Orb ends up being. They run it in this round, in round 4. Here it is, and it just blocks off, and it allows you to control the timings. It's no longer the defensive Viper wall that controls these timings. It's you, it's your team, the attacking squad. It makes it so difficult for teams to be able to get info behind it. In this situation, they get snipe-baited and things kind of peter out. But this is round 9, and another big thing that Nags does was his Viper wall. So this time you have Leaf trying to contest it with the operator, and they're going to drop the Viper Orb and peek into Leaf with 4 players. Look at Leaf here, he's trying to take this fight. Viper Orb goes down there all in his face. There is absolutely nothing he can do here. So the reason that I've got Mimi around, you are going to be my lovely assistant showing everybody how you can replicate this kind of stuff in your own games with the Viper lineup. So please, take it away.
All right, let's pull this up. To start off in true pro player fashion, just gonna have to fidget around with my things, but this starts right on the barrier as pretty much any normal Viper setup towards long will do. As I'll turn off the timer here, it's really simple lineup. Get in this corner, you aim right in the middle section of this diagonal on the ramp here, and it's just a basic left click throw. It doesn't have to be super precise, and you'll see this land swerve. Everyone throws the orb right at the top here. What Cloud9 does is goes and they grab this orb once they're safely across to the position formerly known as ramp. And the lineup for the second stage of the orb that Josh was talking about is also pretty simple. You're going to position yourself right in the little corner here, and you're going to aim right here in the corner at the left side of that slant on the ceiling. You're going to pull out your orb here, and it's the first from the left line that is going, and you see it right there on the corner. It's a pretty precise lineup. You have to get this right on.
And specifically, it's this inside bevel that you're lining up with this. There's probably a couple of ways that you can do this kind of lineup, but Mimi's going to show you this one.
Yeah, and this one's really easy because all you have to do is chuck it as a left click, takes a few seconds to land, and once you boogie on down long here, it lands right in the middle, and you can control that timing, put it up, and as you can see, if you're a defender, there's no angle you can peek through here. You have to completely go through the orb if you want to take a fight, or take the risk to jump up here. So a really powerful orb there that Crew's been throwing.
Yeah, incredibly good protocols, and massive credit to Atom for trying to integrate this kind of stuff into their game. Crew aren't just going on this run because Kesnit's on a heater. They've actually got great ideas too. So thanks, and we'll send things back down to GB.
Absolutely excellent breakdown. We want to thank the Yellow and Red Rangers for doing that for us there. Means a lot to us. It's morphin' time. That being said, though, an exquisite breakdown, though, genuinely, of how this Crew team, VALORANT, has evolved over time. And this was always there, but it does feel as if now we're starting to see these game plans start to come through, and Crew just look like a couple gosh darn geniuses.
Right. They've always had these in their arsenal, these little plays of getting map control and being able to play with the timings, like Josh was talking about. But one thing that they also do so well is they'll throw this exact same kit and then rotate back into A. So for the other team, it looks, oh, they're doing their B long control, but they're playing with the other team's mental. They're understanding the metagame of the IGL and kind of playing with the same reads and hitting a different strat. And that's why they've been looking so unreadable in these moments. Is because they have so many options off of their defaults. They can do that and freeze, or they can do that and go back to A, do that and go right into it. So it's like they have so many different timings, and when you have all of those in your set plays, you seem like an unreadable team.
And I agree completely. The way they do that and the way they've done it across all the maps and not just Pearl, like Josh pointed out, is, I mean, they have the Killjoy like operating on one side. The turret was holding all of mid. The alarm bot was holding the A push. But typically on the other maps, it's like Melzer and Nagza that are just holding opposite extremities, and the pack of 3 will work something. So if a Skybird does come up long B, it's still going to get the Viper, and it's still going to get false info that there's people along B. Right. And Crew abuses that across all of the maps. They do such a good job of spreading out in like 1-3-1s or 4-1s and doing exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's again, this growth that we've seen from this team, you know, from the start of the Americas League now over here to LCQ, absolutely outstanding here. But let's go ahead, though, and move on to their opponents, Leviatán, because, you know, look, let's not beat around the bush here. They had a disappointing season as well, and a loss to Crew here at the LCQ. So, you know, I think everyone felt like this Leviatán team was going to be done, but then they managed to take down Sentinels, and we were excited for them, but we didn't want to get ahead of ourselves because their next target was going to have to be Cloud9, and then they did the impossible, reverse sweep in a lower bracket final to get to this point. And Sean, this Leviatán team, and you know, we had a chance to speak with them yesterday, just the adversity that this team has had to gone through, similarly to Crew. So it's amazing that their journeys collide at this point.
It's so amazing to see how they progressed as a team, and like individuals talking to Taco on that desk yesterday and reading an interview that King recently did saying that Cloud9 was like kind of afraid to change it up and take risks. And that's exactly what I think of Leviatán when I flash back to the regular season or the playoffs. And
very critical of them.
He's able to see that Cloud9 made those mistakes that they used to make. And this version of Leviatán are just playing with so much confidence now. It's a totally different team than even Crew played in the upper bracket.
Yeah, and I want to add the individuals from the team, all of them have been performing incredibly. So that's why the strats and all the little plays are able to show, because they're actually hitting the shots too at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So that's been huge for them. I also think for Leviatán, because they've been going through some adversity losing, but now that they hit the reverse sweep, dude, this is like a magical feeling for them. They're in the grand finals of LCQ going against Crew. They want their revenge. And not only that, they have all the confidence in the world. What more do you want? You just reverse swept Cloud9 in an incredible fashion. All of the players are feeling great. Even in the interview with Taco, he was talking about how he had some mental battles he was going through, but now he's trying to find his footing. Yeah. And I'm so excited to see how they're going to play today versus their rival.
I'm actually glad you mentioned Taco, as a matter of fact, because here is actually what Taco Leah had to say about that turnaround after the match. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, it's a crazy feeling because it's like you're so close to lose everything, like everything in the year. The year is going to be over, and 2 maps down, 9-3. You know, the only thing we start thinking is just round by round, forget the top of the screen, and let's go, guys, we can do this, we have to trust on us. This maybe is the last game as a team, so if we lose, let's lose with happy, pride, you know, pride, and this is how it works, and there's a lot of time in this work, you know, as a team.
Again, and of course, welcome back, Mimi. Good job here. I see you left us from your Megazord. Just had to get one more in there. We're all actually in the, you know, White Ranger, Green Ranger, but I'm just saying, I'm a big fan. Anyway, moving on, though. Yes, Mimi, I know, boss. Here's the thing, though. You know, here at the LCQ, right, it honestly, it hasn't been the King show like everyone else on the roster, you know, was expecting it to, where everyone else, rather, was expecting it to be. Instead, the entirety of the roster stepped up, which kind of goes back to that point, Valen, that you were making, where everyone's hitting, so you're starting to see those plans come to fruition. But Mimi, to bring you back into this one here, you know, you have players that are, you know, almost breaking records on kill performances and maps. You got all this coordination. It feels like Leviatán are truly peaking at the perfect time.
I think normally this team puts so much pressure on King to be the IGL, to be helping out with the emotional leadership, and to be normally their top performer while flexing across so many different roles. And normally one person will pop off, perform with him to find solid success for Leviatán. But in these last few games of this tournament, the entire squad has stepped up and really taken that weight off of him. In particular, in the reverse sweep, there was a different MVP from this team in every single map. It was Nazwar on the Raze stepping up on Split. Then it was Shy having an excellent Haven. And Mazzino even making a rally back to be their top performer on Bind. Every single one of these players, I think he's really getting that mental boost from the team's improvement as a whole and really funneling that into massive increases in individual performance as well.
Yeah, and I honestly don't care what Shy's stats say overall. That guy has had an incredible tournament so far. His impact on all of these maps that I watched Leviatán win is so crazy. Just anchoring the split A site, having multi-frags. You see it there on Haven. Lotus clips come to my head as well. Like, this guy is having such a good event right now for them. And he's not even like the aggressor on a lot of these strats. He plays every situation just to a T.
Yeah, well, and then, you know, when you talk about matchups as well, right? I mean, you have all these players. Every player, I think, matches up against each other in this matchup relatively well. But I think a lot of us are very excited about, and that's why we brought Mimi back, because we want to talk about her favorite subject, duelist matchups. That's right, because Kesnet versus Taco Leah facing off against one another today here. It feels like, Mimi, Taco is awakened, and then Kesnet is snapping. Like, this should be a blockbuster match.
Taco has been improving these last few games with Leviatán, but really I think the star of this tournament thus far has been Kesnet.
Yeah.
Crew versus in the regular season, we're putting him on Jet a lot, putting him on under a lot of pressure as really the solo star of the team. Here in LCQ, they've really prioritized getting him on raise maps, playing a lot of chamber to free him up from that Jet role, and by extension, he has been popping off so much as an individual. I think as well, beyond just his individual performance, which is always excellent, with him on the raise, the way they integrate his utility into the plans for the team has been really good. You see so many more util combos that I think we're really missing from Crew in the regular season.
Yeah, and not only that, but having a player like Kesnet on your team who's consistently performing at the top makes all of his teammates kind of get that sigh of relief. The support players, the IGL, everyone knows that you can trust him to get the openers, to get the space for you, and it kind of eases your mind to just do your job. Especially me as a player, when I know my teammates are performing at, you know, top caliber, I'm just chilling. Let me call, let me do my thing. I don't have to do anything more, right? So these guys are at ease of mind going into these matches, knowing that he's putting up these phenomenal numbers. It's such a mental relief and mental advantage for Crew.
Yeah, well, actually, Baby Bay and King were talking about that. Remember when we had them on the couch, right? King was saying how, I wasn't playing that great, but I turned to my teammate and said, I got your back, but thank you for having mine, right?
Yeah.
That's huge.
That is huge, and that's something we missed out of Leviatán. Kesnet does have that in them, though, where I feel like he's that type of duelist where he could just take the gloves off, drop the strats, just let Kesnet pick into a site, and if they can't stop it, we just keep doing it. And they have that in their playbook to play scrappy and loose. I don't even think Leviatán got to the structured Crew the first time they played in the upper bracket because they couldn't stop Kesnet in that series. You know, that's what they have to really focus on today.
Yeah, and you know, we could talk about this matchup all day, honestly, because it's an exciting one and one that we certainly did not expect. But Coaches Adam as well as Coach Onur are standing by for our map selection. So let's see where we're going. Check it out.
Okay guys, welcome back to the VCT LCQ map pick bands. We're in the grand finals with Crew and Lev. Crew, you guys are coming from winners bracket, so you'll have the 2 bands and team select. We'll start with your team.
We are team A.
You guys are team A, which means Lev is team B. Okay, let's start with the bands from Crew.
We want Fracture.
Band 1 is Fracture.
And we want Haven.
And band 2 is Haven. Okay, Crew, with the first map pick.
Split.
Splits. And Lev, what side on split?
Defense.
Defense. Okay, for map 2 from Lev.
Okay, we pick a Pearl.
Pearl. And Crew, what side on Pearl?
Defense.
Defense. Okay, for map 3 from Crew.
We pick Ascent.
Ascent. And Lev, what side on Ascent?
Defense.
Defense. Okay, and map 4 from Lev.
Lotus.
Lotus. And Crew, what side on Lotus?
Defense.
Defense. Which means map 5 is Bind, and side from Lev for Bind. Defense. Okay, we'll go over it again. With the bands, Crew bands Fracture and Haven. So map 1 is Split with Lev on defense. Map 2 is Pearl with Crew on defense. Map 3 is Ascent with Lev on defense. Map 4 is Lotus with Crew on defense. And map 5 is Bind with Lev on defense. All right, guys, good luck, have fun.
I think those first few maps and that double ban advantage really does give an advantage to Crew in this one. I think especially them getting split, which they dominated Leviatán on last time. early in this one, as well as getting their split in there, which has also looked really good. Implementing that chamber raise composition could be risky for Leviatán.
Yeah, not only that, but the picks matter because the first 3 maps go towards the way of Crew. They got to pick Ascent as the 3rd map, and that's a really consistent tactic in these teams when they come from the upper bracket, is they want to pick the Ascent or the permaban as the 3rd map. So LEV have been permabanning Ascent the whole tournament, and they picked that as map 3, so they're warmed up, and that's their closer map if they win the first 2. Really good strategy out of Crew, and I think they have a big advantage going into this.
I agree completely. I love the fact that they're starting attack on this split map, double duelist comp. We see Kesnet popping off potentially, and like we said yesterday, controlling the pace of the game on attack.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, I think now it kind of leads us to one final question. Who's going? Who's going to Champs LA? Valen?
You're starting with me? All right, I'm going to say LEV 3-1.
LEV 3-1.
Crew 3-0. They've been on a run already. I don't see it ending here.
Ooh.
Crew 3-2.
Oh, we're going to go to 5. All right, well, let's see how this one shakes out because 2 teams have one last chance to turn their season around and make a run at a global title. It's Crew versus Leviatán. Best of 5. The VCT Americas Last Chance Qualifier Grand Final and El Clásico starts right now.
The goal this year is to be able to go to Champions.
The pressure is on.
Let's go!
Por eso hay que ganarle a todos.
Skills do capitão de voz. Oh, looking for the transfer, and he's gonna get it! What are you guys fucking doing? First misses the second, does not!
Para você ser o melhor, você tem que ganhar dos melhores.
Buena, weón!
Anyone can take any game off one another.
Saucy gets 3! And the B-side is now open! What a shot! Ay, ay, ay! Sensacional!
Nada respecto a la final de LATAM versus LATAM, obviamente es ya el clásico.
Quedan pocos segundos, yo lo acabo de escuchar. ¡Ah! ¡Le mete el tiro! ¡No te la puedo creer!
El plantador Spike quedaba dentro de esa zona y esa fase de pelea va a dejar las cosas un poco más jugables para Cloud9, pero Masino, dame otro 3K, Masino, ciérrame todas las rondas.
Yo creo que va a ser un partido bastante similar al que tuvimos contra ellos, ya que personalmente encuentro que están con lo mismo que se prepararon para el split pasado.
Situación muy difícil, muy adversa para Davis. Dale, Davis, se puede, vos podés. ¡1, 2! ¡Claro que sí! ¡Plata, plomo y bien, Melser descuenta desde su salida doble para el IG de chileno. Bien, Melser, tercera.
Nada, somos 2 equipos que siempre han estado en el top tier de LATAM desde que básicamente empezó la competencia en nuestro continente.
Yo creo que los partidos nos han dado cada vez más confianza y aceptar de lo que estamos trabajando. Creo que vamos por un buen camino y vamos a seguir así.
Riot Games Arena, es hora de dar inicio a la gran final de este Last Chance Qualifier. Con 4 victorias consecutivas y en busca de la más importante. Esos son Davis, Naxet, Melser, Kesnit, Klaus y su entrenador Atom Crew Esports.
otro lado, vienen de hacer un reverse sweep y obtener una victoria épica. Son también representantes de la TAM, Masino, Shai, King, Noswer, Tacolilla y el entrenador Onur. ¡El monstruo marino es Leviatán!
You know I'm paving the way to make sure my people are known. Notice some fighters, ain't nobody higher. You don't need a lighter, I'm bringing the fire. Nobody better, they feel in my presence. I'm known as a legend, but you call me sire. I'm too legit, man, I overcommit. Oh no, I never quit, but I'll make you retire. Say you a winner, but man, I don't buy it. Addicted to grinding, man, you gotta try it. I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. Only one spot for me. I gotta be first. I'm who they all wanna be. Come through your worst. I've been through the dirt. I've been through the dirt. I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. Only one spot for me.
We're on a collision course here, folks, as two Latin American teams are going to be the ones to determine who takes the last spot at Champions Los Angeles. You have Crew Esports, a team that is ambitious, a team that is on one of the greatest runs that we have seen in this game's history. And then you have a confident, hungry Leviatán that is ready to quell the fire that Crew have lit up here. And Mimi, this is the stuff that we all want to see in this sport.
It absolutely is. At the start of VALORANT, Crew was always the Latin American squad on top. This team was dominant, but the last time these two teams faced off in a best-of-5 on LAN, it was that first swap over. Leviatán beat them, made it to the international event, and from then on out, through all of 2022, they were the top dog after a brutal season for Crew. And a revival here in the LCQ, the question is if they can take that spot back.
And I think this first map is just going to be a really good indicator for how this series is going to go. We're going to get Davies on the Chamber, most likely. We're going to get Kesnet popping off on the Raze, and then we're going to have the double duelists on the other side with Taco and Noswer. There's going to be so much firepower in this server, and a lot of aim duels are going to go down. We're going to see the relative form today of these teams real quick.
And both these teams are so familiar with each other. Already in LCQ, we've seen them play. It was the start to Crew's run, really. A dominant win there, but Leviatán has improved so much in this lower bracket already.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Noswer pop off on the Raze. We saw yesterday on Split, he had an insane performance, perfect nade timings, really good support utility because he's been playing the other agents, so he has his utility down to a T. So excited to see this matchup. I think both teams are hungry. They don't want to end their season now. They want to make it to Champions LA.
And that's the best part about this, right? It's like, there's no, like, I don't think that there's a favorite coming into this. You know, these two teams, they want this more than they want to breathe, which when you think about the stakes for both of these players and for both these teams, and Valen, you can attest to this. You literally went through this just the other day at Ascension.
Yeah.
That has to be a feeling that is really, really difficult, but also exciting to embrace.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's really the same feeling. Your excitement and your nervousness is the same feeling. So it's as you as a player, how can you deal with this emotion? You just have to channel it into the game and have fun at the end of the day. The crowd's gonna be cheering or booing, whatever the case may be, have fun. And now we're diving into the agent select. Yep, no difference here. We see Nauser and Tacolilla picking the double duelist.
And this is where I think our main character is locked in a second. I swear to God, this guy is just on a heater. I think this is like it's gonna go down as the greatest run ever. If Crew gets the champions and wins this series on the back of Kesnet's performances, the way he's had, I think we're gonna remember this for a long time.
It will be the one to remember, and it's this unique composition as well. Putting Kesnet on that race that he's been so good at, frees up Davies to be on the Chamber, who he himself has had an exceptional run thus far. All these guys are so familiar with each other, back and forth across rosters. Owner has coached 9 out of 10 of these guys. The history's there, but today only one of them can be that top LATAM team and make the final spot at Champions.
Well, this is it. Riot Games Arena, I need you to make some damn noise as we get ready for this grand final. It's Crew, it's Leviatán, and let's send it to two awesome casters, Brent and Sideshow.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's get this one underway here. The grand finals of LCQ, the Path to Champions, Josh. And what a way to set things up as well. It's that battle for the LATAM title, the most dominant team in the region, and also the right to represent your region in the biggest tournament of the year.
And it's unbelievable that we have these two teams here. Both of them finding it in themselves to go on a run like this when they look down and out. During the regular season, Crew 0-9, but Leviatán too. What a fall from grace, this squad. Everybody was high on them at the beginning of the year. Everyone knew they were capable of something like this, but they just couldn't put it together when it mattered. Well, here it matters the most. You win this match, you are through to champions, you get to represent LATAM on the big stage. And for the LATAM fans, I mean, one of them's guaranteed.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, only one can go through.
And this is such an exciting matchup. The form that Crew has been in, it's been fiery passion versus the cold iron, the discipline of Lev. And here we get started. Split is our first map here, the pistol round.
And it's an attempt from Crew to take things very slowly. Davies, though, turns the pace up as soon as Taco spots him.
Yeah, that's confidence. Rendezvous placed up. Get out of jail for free card, and now being helped out by the rest of his team. Stray shots being sent straight through the wall, hoping for an easy kill. Taco almost going down, has to back away for a heal.
Remember, Noswer was unbelievably good last time Leviatán played on this map. One of the big reasons why they were able to pull through. And they're going for a wraparound through mid. Nags has heard all of this. I mean, Nags has heard them rotate off of A and through up to B male with his lurk position deep in mid. And Crew, we've seen them go for this kind of pathing before where they take A heaven control and then pressure into B.
Oh, and King could be in trouble. One snake bite to his name, has to back out. Just hopping around, and he does escape.
They didn't leave anybody posted up in A heaven. So while they go back here, they've got to be a little diligent, worried that Taco could be pushed forwards. They still haven't forced out Taco's dash. But the confidence from Crew in these kind of moments, they don't spend much time wondering. They just go.
To the final 30 seconds. It's got to start coming through now towards the back of it. Shy, flash over the top. Does connect, but Klaus, what an answer back. Damage being done. Taco, he's low though. And it's running and gunning. That'll finish him off. Two-player advantage. Spike will be going down. It's in a safe position, but the post plant isn't too ideal still. Massive player advantage, but everybody grouped up towards the side, and Noswer trying to take matters into his own hands. Risks were necessary, really, to try and turn the fate of this round, and it doesn't go his way.
A 2v5 that looks completely unwinnable here with Nags having his position up towards heaven. But Mazzino and King are going to do what they can.
Needs a freebie here with Melter being low enough snake bite. There's Kesney going down, but yeah, they all topple just like that. The player advantage being a little bit too much there. So Crew running away with that one. Pistol round under their belt. Great way to begin.
And I feel like a lot of people have in their heads that Crew are going on this run because the form of the players is absurd. And while that has truth to it, Kesney has been on a monster run, and players like Klaus, Davies have turned things around enormously. But when I watch Crew move around the map, they are so different to how they played during that regular season.
Oh, yeah.
They're so mobile. They're willing to pressure different areas and return back and cut timings, play with different tempos. Even in that pistol round, they're wondering if they could call an audible and rush through to B, or whether they should end A, and they're very fluid with it. A lot of credit got to be given to Melzer, who used to be a player on Leviatán and is now calling to try and take his team to champions over the top of his former roster.
What a storyline that would be. This one should just be slam dunk, round win. Spike going down, have to push it back. It's not planted for main, it is close to default, but at this point, Lev, the discipline they show, most likely just going to be going down to the spike, looking to see if they can get any exits, do that economical damage. But you say it's not all form when you talk about these teams, Josh, and they have had these good ideas, that nuance that we're seeing almost. You're saying that, playing very fluid. You think of the Crew in a regular season, very much brute force being the name of the game sometimes. A lot of 5 players grouping up.
Absolutely, very little nuance to it. And I think they needed a little bit of time with their new coach, Adam, to be able to come in and help them figure out the ways that they wanted to approach these maps.
Yeah.
There was a lot of talk about how close they were at being able to secure wins during the regular season, but close really doesn't do anything. 0-9 this squad, and yet now poised as arguably very slim favorites in this final. But as the Des was talking about, I really do feel like this is anybody's game, up for grabs by either of these squads.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to see our first clash of the rifles in this round, where it is Crew's bonus, but they've got 2 Phantoms, 2 Vandals, and a Bulldog coming in here. So, essentially, just our first gun round.
Yeah, the money is flourishing. From the prior round, set themselves up here. Focus being laid down towards mid. Taco. Yes, up. Slight off angle. Misses the shot, though. Has to activate the dash. Takes another attempt of it. Get out of there.
And as to what Sean was talking about on the desk earlier, notice how the flash from Shy does connect onto Melza. And so Leviatán don't know how many players are outside A, even though it's Melza controlling A, Nags controlling B, and that triple pack with Davies and Kesnit taking the brunt of the map control. This system has really worked well for them, all throughout LCQ.
Dog all leading the charge. Davies, you're in the jump spot. Pings it out for his team. Mid-control taken as well.
Melza deliberately getting flashed again. Here. And now he moves away from A main. This looks like it's going to end in a B split, but remember, Shy just got confirmation that there were people outside A main. So he's got to stay towards A. And now Lev have 3 players over there.
And here it is, a face by King looking for information, but he will fall stacked up against him. 1 player left standing, Mazzino. But that's a read, isn't it? Nags it. Claiming that kill. Mazzino at the off angle, they needed to get value there, playing around the smokes, but another 2-player disadvantage for Lev.
Spike planted.
And again, forced to make the difficult task, difficult decision. Maybe not for them, but to save. We know they're prone to it.
They definitely are. Yeah, I mean, even the audience knows what's going on at this point, right? Leviatán with another one of their save rounds.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of talk about this. It's one of the ways in which Leviatán demonstrate their discipline. They want to keep rifles up at all times, make sure that they have a decent buy heading into the next. But they're not one of the teams that tends to convert at a high rate on eco rounds, even when they have, you know, a few rifles in there. And Kesnit's found one of them. So now only 2 Vandals looking to be brought into the next. And while all of this is going on, Crew's economy grows bigger and bigger. These players are all going to get the 3K, they've got the plant bonus, any kill bonuses as well added on the end. The economy already looking like it's going to be flourishing.
Yeah.
And we're only into round 4.
Bank is booming. They're giving out loans at this rate.
And it puts so much stress on Leviatán on their defense side.
We talk about form with these teams. It is an important talking point as well on the other side of things. Lev have come into their own with a lot of their individual players. Haven't seen too much evidence of that so far with this series, but players like Taco finding newfounded confidence that wasn't there in the regular season.
And I think that's an important point. We haven't seen it yet, and I think they probably need those players to get online early in the series to get that confidence going and feeling like they're warm once they get into later maps. And this is a winnable map for either team straight off the bat. This isn't one that's supposed to be one-sided one way or another. Lev or Crew both have their chances to win on split, although obviously Crew in the driver's seat at the moment.
I like this decision making. It's deep B main control. Giving over to Mazzino. As long as he holds that space, he's going to be granting them a lot of information. Lev can push players into other directions as well. Shore up the defenses towards mid, towards A. You know that space is locked up. Trailblazer needs to be dealt with. It is. Nobody was following up behind it.
There's a bit of danger in B main though here. We've got a judge on Mazzino, and usually Melza is going to try and take that space on his own. Remember? 1-3-1. That's the idea for Crew.
There.
So if Mazzino just holds his ground, there is a big chance that Melza is dropped with the spike.
Recall smoke. That's King, relieving that pressure as well. Right from behind, a bit of a backstab attempt. Mazzino's still there. The judge does not do the work, doesn't take out the opposition.
What an incredibly important fight that could have been the whole round for Crew.
Taking B main control, but still, it looks like Crew want nothing to do with it. Again, that fluidity on display. They force the rotations out all the way through spawn. There's only one player really anchoring, and they can hear the footsteps. Davies, does he win this fight out? King! How's he managing that? Traded, though. Just behind him, took him out. Not even sure if that was intended. Shy onto the corner. Has to try and get one. Time running so damn short, but he falls. Could have been everything if he stopped it, but the spike doesn't look like there's a chance that it's going to be denied. Melza's there, getting the plant off. Extension towards it. Satchel forward. Nozwa to 1v2, and he's brought down anyway. It's a 3-piece for Davies. 4 rounds in a row now for Crew. They're feeling it.
And so many things going their way. Even despite the best efforts of King, challenging them over in B heaven and then in A heaven as well, being mobile himself around the map.
it was this kill, I think, that really changed the tide of things. Mel's is the IGL. Once he gets that, he gets a read in his head of where the layout is of those defensive players and reads this immaculately. Plus the fact that he's in good form himself to be able to grab that kill against a player with a judge is no easy feat. So this has now hurt the Leviatán economy. They were able to buy in the prior with only one player having a judge, but now down to Stingers.
Yeah, dampening on the economy. Stingers and the Sheriffs. We've seen miraculous stuff occur with those guns in the past, but LEV are going to need it because this is a half that is steadily getting away from them. Wall dropping. Jiggle onto the corner, spam onto it as well. That was Shy just spotted out.
And now, Crew ball up with 4 players, trying to avoid getting caught out by any individual on the anti-eco round. And they just leave the rest of the map to Davies with his trip. The trademark broken, he has to worry about B main, but again, it's the rest of Crew just all together, trying to feel out for whether or not there's a stack on A.
Yeah. That's a goal. Taking a time with it, though. Getting down to the 50-second mark. Don't actually have control of middle B main. Still making this rotation through.
They're going to be heading into Taco, who only has a Sheriff in hand. Just going to be asked to do so much.
Well, what can he achieve?
Little fakes with the snake bite. Nice lineups from Nags. He's going to make it feel like it's ending A.
He's in the off angle. Misses the shot, though. Doesn't land. Showstopper now. Forwards. Taco!
What is
He's
that?
removed him. He's out. He's repositioned. A fox in the pen. Straight into the smoke. Mazzino is ripping and tearing right through them with the Sheriffs. They swarmed him. And my goodness, just like that. You needed a miracle. You needed something to offset that round advantage. There's one on the board.
Taco delivers with his first 2 kills of the match. How does he get this one? I mean, there's no way he even knows that Kesnit's there.
Yeah,
surely
like
just pre-aiming at head height, hoping that he catches Kesnit on the floor instead of blast packing any higher up. Unbelievable. That is what LEV needed. Taco now has the money to get an op online. The reverse Uno card in terms of the economy.
Yeah, it's twists and turns, isn't it? Can flip just like that. There's an operator on the other side of things as well. It's Davies' attack operator. He's been set up onto that A ramp angle. Might be a brawl waiting to happen here. Viper wall going to be fading soon. It's King holding close to the corner anyway.
And if anyone tries to punish Davies here by wide swinging, Kesnit's ready. He can also do stuff like try and break this Trailblazer.
3 players spotted.
Blinded. Bomb buddy out.
I think LEV are doing a great job here at just challenging Crew as they try and fight for map control. Yeah. Nobody's really exposed themselves to Davies' sightline, and yet they're still holding them back from being able to take A heaven.
Now, Flash is going to be keeping a lot of the LEV players, again, tethered. That's what you were mentioning earlier, right, Josh, with tagging onto Melzer.
And look, everybody else has left. It's only Davies there, but they've inserted him, and they're going to explore elsewhere on the map. And LEV still keep 3 players.
Yeah, Nozzle does spot it. Aid in hand. Felt the pressure. And there we go, straight into ropes. That's King, pounced upon. They removed that position all the way back over to Wei. Ring around the rosies. Never really know where this team's going to land. There's a pull, there's a nade. Shy, close to the corner, him and Taco. Got to do so much more towards the back of the site now. Seekers going across, damage done, I think, straight through the wall as well as a target-rich environment. Close to the corner, no one's cleared. Nozzle at the time is running so damn short. Taco, can he deny it? Plant, close to the corner away from him. Nothing to deny this one, still active into the elbow. They know he's there to double face as Mazzino seeks to gain a bit of information, a better ground. All down to Taco, and Davies has got it watched. Missing the shot on either side, knives whopped. Oh, it's whiffy.
He pops the knives at that point, Brad.
It's whiffy, man.
I mean, Taco had knives at a much earlier point in that round, and I wondered if he was going to pop them. He had updrafts to work with. He could have gone for a denial onto the spike and maybe tried to make the hero play at that point. But under pressure, feeling like he could have got swarmed at any point, he's stuck holding the angle with the off, and he pulls it out at the end.
Is that not an indicator?
Maybe a bit of the stress getting to him.
Yeah.
Or at least, hey, you could read it the other way, that he has the confidence to win the 1v3. I feel like that's an inopportune time, though, and an ult removed from him, as Leviatán take a timeout, and maybe some nerves need to be calmed here.
Oh, yeah. I think that's the case. You know, sometimes you see the best being brought out of teams when their backs are against the wall. Like, you know, I would argue the LEV that we saw in the upper bracket when they got knocked down by Crew the previous time that they matched up, the El Clasico matchup that we've witnessed, we saw almost just a rejuvenated Leviatán in the lower bracket. They went on an absolute tear when it came to the form itself as well. But sometimes, you know, when your back is against the wall, it's elimination time. That does bring out the best in teams. But where that falls off a little bit is when you finally reach the grand finals, the finishing point almost, the last hurdle that you have to overcome. It's almost a casual reminder that, oh wait, it's not a fairy tale. You're actually in the moment. You have to perform here and now.
We've seen that all year with many different teams. I mean, Cloud9 springs to mind as well. Felt like there was a different performance there when they were the underdogs and no one believed in them, and when they became the favorites.
Absolutely.
We'll see whether that has an impact on either of these two teams. BO5's very much, you need to be stable throughout. It's not about peaking in one map. You need to be able to bring consistent performances the whole way through. Shy only has a Stinger here, so a Stinger and a Judge being brought in on the defense side.
Yeah.
As King pops his ult in mid.
And the money is dodgy, but they want to light up some weaponry around these big ults. Hoping that the Viper's Pit will offset the economical disadvantage. B main controllers theirs, though, on the side of Crew. Spot on Mazzino.
They're looking to just post Davies up.
No way!
And that's ridiculous. Klaus just spamming that common angle, catches Mazzino, and Nags looking to control the reaction on the other side.
Goodness me. A flick to the side here. Melza also watching for it, anticipating a push out. When you've got the two-player advantage, again, the pressure is on Lev to perform.
And it becomes so difficult when Leviatán lose a player on one side of the map and try and make a play on the opposite side. They know that there's 3 players B main. They're looking to try and push something out towards A. They know there's only 1 player there. But Nags is holding a great defensive angle and hits the shot.
Shy flash deep into A main there. It didn't tag onto anyone. Gave him a bit of false information because the rest of the crew now grouped up towards it with 30 seconds left, but he's made his way back onto the side.
30 seconds left.
Oh, this angle.
So
unorthodox,
exposed.
isn't it? So exposed, but he wins the first fight out.
Spike down A.
And gets away.
Repositions. Tucked into elbow. Can he get any more here to try and offset it? Potentially open towards main. There was 2 players there. Out in the open again. Time is running so damn short. It's 12 seconds. Shy could be an absolute miracle worker. Doesn't win it with a wider face. It's Melza trying to get down. King from long range with the Judge. There's got to be some changes after that one. Surely he's hopping around the corner but cannot escape it. The sightlines were set onto him. 6-1. It's the scoreline that we face right now, Josh.
And this is absolute devastation. I mean, every round that Leviatán has tried to go for a half-buy or some kind of force, they've just been I mean, what is this? That's absurd. That's not even part of the game plan. They're trying to get Davies posted so that he can work a pick, and Klaus just grabs it anyway.
Yeah.
And that, Brent, is one of the most ridiculous things in terms of how this run has been working for Crew. They've been getting the first kill 68% of the time. I mean, it's probably higher now. It's probably more towards 70% if you're taking these rounds into account.
Wider is the face again, and you're feeling it. It's desperation. It's running its course for Lev here. King, I mean, he feels like he has to make a play with the snake bite pushing forwards, but already too many players have fallen with the stingers in their hands. I mean, it's a weaker bite. Got to go for plays like this, but this is just looking like Crew cementing themselves, Josh, even further.
Yeah, Leviatán are gonna try and go for this, but double stingers in hand. Nosra with his ult, but there's no point committing the showstopper.
Guy's contacted. Yeah, I mean, just a tap onto it, hoping he can force the fight towards backside, expecting there to be a player there.
And as Nosra slowly gets squeezed out of this round, Crew are gonna be absolutely in the ascendancy.
Yeah.
First map, all flying. And there were a few questions about whether the break between the upper finals and the grand finals was going to hurt this team's momentum. So far, not even slightly.
No.
I mean, they are looking
Put the doubts to
dominant.
rest.
You know the wild thing as well about that first kill stat that I was talking about? They almost get 70% of their first kills. Most teams are around 50%, right? During the regular season, they were even worse than that. What's wild is it's not all Kesnet. It's shared kind of evenly across the board by this team. I mean, just now, Klaus is 3-1 in first kills to first deaths.
Yeah,
exactly the same as Kesnet. So these opening duels are happening everywhere.
If you told me the numbers that Klaus is putting up here now compared to the regular season, I mean, I'd assume someone else is playing on his PC because they have just been ridiculous. It's like a different player. But sometimes, this tournament structure, this format, the Crew players have spoken about, how it favors them, the long regular season, playing games out. For a team like Crew, you could argue Lev as well. I mean, doesn't favor their play style. especially that momentum that they gained playing match after match after match. I mean, there's no team that's had a harder path all the way here to this grand finals than a team like Crew. They've had to battle all the way from the very beginning.
They had no second chances at the start of LCQ.
No.
And here, just getting slowed down slightly in mid. 50 seconds left. And if anything has been a bit worrying for Crew in this half so far, it might just be the clock. They've had a lot of plants with about 10 seconds left. And maybe that's something that Leviatán can focus on. Not giving first duels easily, playing a rolling retreat.
Crossfire setup. Together, it's ramp with him and King. Nosworth, can you do the most here? Well, it's all King, seemingly. It's 3 on the board. Dodges the flash. Magnificent. Melza, last one standing, and an ace denied. Much to the disappointment of the crowd, yet finally we see Lev getting online a little bit.
It's got to be more than King, though. It's got to be more than King. He's got 3 times the amount of kills as the next highest player on the scoreboard for Leviatán.
Wasn't that the story of the regular season?
Exactly. That's not going to be how Leviatán win this series, is with King going nuts. We know that he can do that. He's a phenomenal player. But he needs the rest of his team to also provide rounds like that to keep things competitive. It's a good start, though.
Time to keep this one moving. Again, operator v operator. Davies gets no piece of it towards main. Steadily taking up that ramp control.
It's a nice teleport that Davies has got set up. It's going to take him all the way back to safety if he gets pressured in sewers. So he can just work picks on his own here. Yeah. And he's not worried about any kind of crunch setup. Chamber's so good for avoiding trap plays. Not that the double duelist comp runs too many of them that Leviatán are using. But it's slow and cautious from Crew again.
Now that Davies is here on this angle, just has to dodge the Sky utility coming his way, but he can hold this space well. Main's also being covered by Nagset, who's just behind him.
And you can see that Lev are adapting here, only using their utility later on in the rounds. They know that Crew are going slowly and carefully, so they're using flashes and seekers at 50 seconds.
Hang about, Dash is here. Here's the reload, and he claims the first. Nagset, he will fall. Pull right at his feet, shows stopper, it lands. Kesnin, so consistent with it, but he's got Shy there. Back up right behind towards the elbow. Landing the shots, and the Rhino is here, man. Oh my.
Everything left down to Melza in a 1v3. Playing against his former team, calling the plan for this round gonna Rai, and he's just got to save.
Yeah.
10 seconds left.
What a performance from Shy there. I mean, and Taco, putting on like an Aspas cosplay, essentially.
Yeah.
It's so good seeing Taco activated, because this player has been in such a slump for such a time. And on both of these teams, you're getting people who have previously given us underperformances, Taco, Klaus, you know, step up and really show what they're capable of. Fight for it. At the end of the year, at the final hour, showing that they're capable of getting their team to champions. Not just competing for the middle of the pack, not just deserving their spot on a roster in partnerships, but actually fighting to get into the tournament that means the most at the end of the year.
It's been a while since we've seen these two teams at any form of international events outside of lock-in.
You want to play? Let's play.
That's what this is for. Crew used to be a staple of almost every single event, but had a bit of a gap in terms of that. Lev fighting hard as well to make sure that their season doesn't end in disappointment.
And I feel like one of the big adjustments that Leviatán have made is saving their utility for the first kind of 40 seconds of the round. They know that Crew are not going for big 5-person pop hits at the start. So that means you don't need to throw as much early utility. But you've got to make sure that they don't contact into you. And Crew are taking a lot of space and a lot of liberties up in A heaven.
Dangerous. They haven't crossed the threshold, just the open window angle. Shy is out in the open here, so is Nosworth, and they're just wide open. They didn't expect that space to already be granted to the Crew players. Nags is ready for the push. It's fallen to pieces.
I just love the adaptation from both of these teams. Leviatán are playing a slower defensive round in response to that. And Melza calls for them to go contact forwards. Okay, if Shy's not going to use his utility to find out where we are, we're going to walk into him. They're scared of us at this point. They're scared of the Davies op. Especially when he's got his Tour de Force active.
Yeah.
It really is beautiful. The system that Crew's figured out. A combination of Melza working with the newer coach Atom and the time that they've spent and some of the time off as well.
Oh, yeah.
To ponder,
trust me.
to rethink, to make sure you don't get stuck in a rut.
Yeah, some people warm up in aim, lads. Kesnet's a GTA role player. That man is loaded it up, trust me. That's how he's getting his warm up in. But if it works, it works. Some rest and relaxation, it's paying off. For a team like Crew, had a hard time of it. It's been a marathon this season.
Final round of the half. And apart from a brief showing from Leviatán, Crew have completely been in control. Lev are going to try and mix things up now with Taka walking down mid. The operator, in theory, should be able to find these players, potentially, like Melzer and Nags.
The contacting, yeah.
But they normally hold very safe positions, Brent.
Yeah.
While the rest of the team is doing their job. Oh, and Taka oversteps himself and gets punished. That's the worry.
Falls down, Noswa, satchels up in the air, flashed up, blinded up. He cannot move, a muscle is brought down. The ult completely negated, that's a -8. With a minute left in a round.
Oh!
That is precise.
What a shot.
It leaves it up to 2 for Lev. Final round of this half, but all but locked up now for Crew. Should be the 9-3.
And if they win this round, every single round the Crew have got the first blood, they've managed to convert. 100% 5v4 rate.
And no more worries about the operator. Contacting to be heaven. Zeno. Up and down control, but he's just one man with a Guardian. What can he do? He's feeling it. There's one.
30 seconds left.
Good shot to be found. Smoke propped up, finds himself the upgrade with the rifle, but the plant's going to go down. Nevertheless, does get the Cosmic Divide online. Maybe he can do something with it.
I've got your trail.
Another star planted, but here's the Seekers to spot out where his last 2 players are. Aimed it down. It's a deeper smoke. It does give him a lot of exit opportunities, but spamming through the Vandal is risky. Giving it away out in the open. Satchel at his feet. Shy is dealt with all down to Mazzino, and he cannot withstand it. 9-3 is the scoreline we look at.
What an incredibly well-played half by Crew. I'm just amazed at the difference in tempos, the way that they run this 1-3-1 kind of setup, and how good they are at neutralizing defensive aggression from every team. Melzer is calling a masterful game to knock his former team out potentially here if he can keep it going and get his new squad to champs.
It is a masterclass in terms of the calling so far for that first half. Let's send it down as well. We took a listen in to King and what he thought about this El Clasico matchup ahead of it.
Sí, bueno, esa serie fue un poco especial, por así decirlo, porque totalmente no teníamos la misma garra con la que entramos ya en el lower bracket. Creo que cometimos un error, que fue dejarnos que nos cayera la presión, de pensar, de ver comentarios de que todos decían que íbamos a volver más fuertes. Y nada, fue un poco la misma presión que sentimos durante toda la Liga de las Américas. Y nada, después cuando ya nos queda la última chance, nos miramos a los ojos, dijimos que ya no había... realmente era la última chance y estamos sacando el juego que realmente hacemos siempre en las prácticas.
He's just talking and touching on that do or die mentality, you know, when you're pushed and shoved against the wall when it comes to that scenario where this is your entire season on the line. LCQ, there's no second chances. It's everything. It's what it culminates down to. And who knows what's going to happen after this?
It seems like Leviatán need their backs up against the wall to perform. Pulled off a reverse sweep in a BO5 to eliminate Cloud9 and get to this point. You don't get any more backs up against the wall than that.
No. That's performing under pressure and more.
I mean, they're also down 9-3 on Haven and managed to pull back. But you can't do that every time. You can't always let yourself slip at the first hurdle in a series and battle back. Love the grammar from me.
Yeah. And this match, you know, it's been dubbed the El Clasico for good reason. I mean, how many times have these two teams placed off for that title?
Me when I'm English and say the El Clasico.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the classic match, of course.
Of course. I mean, this is going to be extremely tough for Leviatán. They were able to pull back a 9-3 on Haven versus Cloud9. But also, we've seen this before.
We have seen this before, yeah.
I mean, on Split, 9-3 as well.
Leviatán have literally been in the exact same spot before during that match in LCQ when they played against each other. But now they need to turn it around. Now it has to be a different result. And Nozwa, the player that has been so fantastic for them on Split and had a breakout performance playing the Raze on this map, going missing here, not able to find the value on the defense side, which should be his best. This is going to be very tough. And we're only at map 1.
This is crazy. 4 players grouped up, seeing if they can get a cheeky kill. Nozwa spots it, gets out. Luckily with his life. There's a response. It's instantaneous here from Lev. Shy out in the open. There was no real coverage there, but under smoke. And Davies does reposition with the rendezvous. 10 health, though.
They know where Davies is as well. They know exactly where that teleport went to. He needs help from Klaus.
Deep flash. It's good. Davies dodges it and still lands the kill. Heal not online fast enough. The nade will clean him up and finish him off. Shy just poking and prodding towards the side here. Nozwa still containing and holding, but he does get traded and brought down. King is close to the corner to one and done angle. To fight also waiting to be taken here. Mazzino for the right chance of this backstab. Nade is there. King close again to the corner. It's finally called out, but he's already claimed 2, and there's Mazzino. Final line of defense. Ready to strike when his team needed it. So, pistol round for Lev. Maybe the start of something. A string of rounds, potentially.
That's exactly what they need to get this started. There's no other option for them if they want to be able to win here on Split. And that's going to show you a bit of the different tempo that these teams are playing at. Crew went for a 4-person push down mid, and that's going to force a reaction.
Get me there.
They think they've already won. I mean,
yeah, that looks like A5, I'm telling you.
Why are we here?
Exactly, man. Pop it off. I love it.
I mean, this is a day for the LATAM fans. It really is. You can't lose. You really can't if you're
cheering for one team or the other. But yeah, the region as a whole is going to be winning. Well, here it is. Striking back. There. Oh, what? With the shorty getting away with that. Nagzet claiming too close to the corner. This is suddenly in much more than danger. This is looking almost lost. The spike out in the open. 2 players left standing. That economical advantage, it's gone to pot.
And the spike being down is a massive problem. I mean, Mazzino is so far away, just assuming that his team are not going to run into Nag's double shorty kills.
Yeah.
Nagzet in the corner, just being able to pull those both out is spectacular for his team. How do they recover this? They have stars that they can put up. That's going to deny vision, but Crew are going to spam. No damage done just yet.
No one even walking into that direction. Instead,
look at Melza watching behind him. Worried that they could have got all the way behind to screens already.
Realizing they could have got out of there, but he didn't pick up the spike.
There's 20 seconds left. This extraction process has got to be moved a little faster.
Yeah, no opportunities to pivot over to B. It has to land onto A for any chance to win the round here. So it's close. Kismet is out in the open. And here it is. Time playing its part. 12 seconds left. Close to the corner. It's a 1v1. Oh no. Nozwa has the spike, sticking it down here. Melza, does he choose to take the time with it? It's planted. Damage done. Only 78. Will be around the corner with the right clicks. That's the finisher. Gotta be joking.
It's not the cleanest round of Valorant I've ever seen in my life. But that's incredible for Crew.
Try harder now.
It will do.
The decision from Melza is really nice there. He knows that there's a big decision process for his opponent to either get the plant down or to challenge him. He waits until he hears the spike sound planted, but then, oh, the classic right click almost betrayed him.
Yeah, I mean, that is... You're leaving it up to a coin flip.
But look at the reaction.
The corner with the right clicks. You really are, but yeah, they're loving it. A thrifty. They answered it right back.
And when there seemed like there was hope for Lev, oh, dashed in a moment.
The wind taken right out of their sails. Desperation on display there. Taka hoping to deep dash, maybe take some space towards A, but he's brought down so early. Not ideal. Yes, it's a half buy, but at this point, every single round, every single moment counts.
Right there.
And Crew do tend to be quite bunched up in terms of how they defend. I mean, you watch them on the map, and they're looking to try and get active with 2 or 3 of them, going for pushes or reclears. They're not happy just holding these static positions, and I think their idea is pretty excellent.
they keep putting pressure on teams. Like that. As Eno ends up walking into them. Crew looking to get up to 11.
I think it's smart. Group up as well when you're up against a half fight. There's no danger of getting overwhelmed. A singular player giving over a weapon. Giving up that A-Heaven control. It's a mad scramble, isn't it, on the left side? Hunting for an open angle, an open shot, but 30 seconds left. Which way is this landing? You don't want to be saving these guns.
30
and what
seconds
must be
left.
running through the heads of the players that are just dead right now and having to think and ponder the fact that they're down 4-10. I mean, a 6-round deficit on the opening map, not the way that Leviatán would have wanted to open this. So difficult for them to even come back into this.
It's a trade-off, but a cleanup.
And you've got to wonder if that kind of mentality is they just have to sit there in these slightly slower rounds, stewing on the fact that they're down to their rivals from LATAM, a team that they've been better than for the last year at least. You got to wonder if that's going to impact them heading later. Lev have got to be able to brush this off unless they're able to mount a comeback. Because Pearl used to be at the top of Leviatán's map pool, but Crew have looked amazing at it recently.
It's the benefit you get when you go through that uppers. The double ban, moving Fracture and Haven. The second map, you know, the second map ban, a bit of a toss-up when it comes to what Crew would want to remove, but I think Haven's a decent one.
And while you would, as a competitor, want to just focus on the here and now and make sure you get this round, there's that little pressure in the back of your head as you realize the score at the top of the screen.
Oh, yeah. Dash forwards. That's deep into heaven.
With a judge. I like
a judge, yep. Seen this play before, but no util to his name. That's the money running dry. He's already used his one smoke. How does he get in there? Showstopper, Noswa, can he pave the way? Can he clear out a bit of a space and an opening? Davies, you are mad to take that fight, but he does bring him down. Just the 1-for-1. Taco close to the corner. Dog doesn't clear it. Klaus, oh, he's wide open. Wide open, and there's the kill. Surely running right into him. Kesnet, he's claiming it. It's carnage. In the final moments here. 3 versus 3, winnable still. Weapon control, still theirs for Crew. Lever all playing, tucked towards side. Series of these close angles and one of them positions. Down towards it, nags it, he wins it, out in the open, vulnerable. Forced to try and trade and take matters into his own hands. It's up to Shy, 1v1, time running short. Does Melter have it?
Not quite.
I don't think so.
It's close, but I don't think he's got it.
Damage done, but not the defuse. Barely missing out on that. Squeaking by.
And a lifeline for Lev. They're going to still be able to buy in the next round. It's a Red Bull clutch. Davies is actually right inside his rendezvous there, looking to try and fight the Showstopper and still get away. Doesn't quite manage it.
I thought he was out of range of it. He didn't have his little gold vest on.
I think he just stepped out of range of it to fight the Showstopper and take a more aggressive angle. But you know, the concept is there. Unfortunate though, millisecond timings.
Yeah, barely. Will this be a turning point?
Oh, Taco is so deep inside the pit.
That's a dash inside to see if he can punish. He was pre-miming towards Mail, actually, expecting the pit to be offloaded from that position. King, he's already vacuumed it up. Pushing forwards now. Showstopper all the way through. Kesnet spots it and nails it. The Rockets, the consistency. This is looking like 12. Crew, just like that. That's from back of a round of their own.
Awesome movement from Kesnet there too. Using the blast back of the rocket to push himself away from King and around the corner so he couldn't get punished.
I'd love to see if anyone is tracking as well the stats on this. It feels like Kesnet gets a kill every time.
Every time he uses the Showstopper.
Yeah, every single time.
He's got to be the most efficient raise that I've seen with it in this tournament. But you've got to remember too that this is Kesnet's best tournament run ever. Yeah. We've seen amazing star-level performances from Kesnet since he first came onto the scene. And yet this is still him performing at his peak.
Blocking vision.
That is quite ridiculous.
Right there.
And it's been one of the big reasons why they're able to power themselves forwards here. You heard Valen and Sean talk about how much of a weight that just lifts off the rest of the team.
Yeah. 30 seconds left.
And it helps them play better as well, I think. You know, as I said, it's not like Kesnet's getting all of the first kills. He kind of is here on Split. He's got at least 5, I think.
Again, another
6
decision.
or 7 maybe.
To save here, Josh. I mean...
Yeah, it's tragic. I mean, Leviatán are playing for the draw at this point. I wonder what this ends up doing to the mentality, but this is how they play. This is how they've practiced. And these are the kind of decisions they go for.
Don't blame them to a degree with it, but you got to keep these guns as well if you're going to make this decision. If you're not going to make a go of the round, you've handed it over. There's a 12 for Crew. Almost anticlimactic in the way that one goes. Will they keep the gun? Shy. He stays alive.
Very close. Doesn't really help them too much. And a timeout called for Leviatán. Look at that movement, though. Using the recoil of the showstopper to push himself back around the corner and ensure that King is given only the slimmest of timings to trade that.
Yeah, we've been treated some premium Raze gameplay over the course of LCQ. Some of the movement has been pulled out. It's been nothing short of incredible. Like Prime Bunny.
Yeah.
Going around, man.
I mean, I think, you know, people are looking at Durka being able to win Masters Tokyo playing just all the Raze and thinking, well, what's to stop us from doing the same?
Not?
If you've got a great Raze player like Kesnet on your team, somebody that can play other duelists as well, but has a specialty there, added into the compositions. I mean, Kesnet was playing Raze on Haven too, which is actually a map that they decided to get rid of in this map veto. Would have still been a decent one,
yeah.
But that's the thing.
That's the weird thing about these two teams with the maps, is because I really think that it could go either way on a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's only one map where it was obvious Crew wanted to get rid of it, which was Fracture.
Yeah.
And then they kind of had their pick of which other ones they wanted to go towards. And it's difficult when you're in LCQ because the sample size is so small from what you've seen from your opponent and how good they looked. And were they playing against a team that was great, or was the team they were playing against bad? It's very difficult to evaluate that.
You just don't know the improvements teams have made over a month and a half.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I thought we were going to come into map 1 and have a really competitive map between these two teams. And it go down to the wire because I thought Lev looked explosive with Taco and Nozwa playing up towards their best. This double duelist duo has not been able to get active at all. And that is full credit to Crew. They've just shut it down utterly.
Everything on the line now. Look at the investment. Of course, you have to buy up around it. One round stands between it. Melza spamming down. Damage done, certainly. And here it is. Pull at their feet. Nade as well. It's all collapsed upon. Into the choke point you go. You do not stand a chance. Cosmic Divide. It's a bit of respite. Away from all this damage. Maybe you can get the 3-1 for them. It looks like they want to try and fight through. They were gearing up for it. You can see Shy was holding a flash, I think, for maybe a pop flash play through the Cosmic Divider, but they had to give it chances for it, and the weapons are still not good. 2 rifles. Plant only just going down close to the corner. King's got the pit online. Can it help? Pushing forwards now. It's Crew trying to take space in it, but this is an observer's worst nightmare. Walls and smokes and pits in the way. Everything is obfuscated. Faced up, though.
Look how close and tight the Crew players are together, trying to trade each other out inside the pit.
Fully blinded up, Shy. Can't see anything, doesn't know what timing to be taken. That's Kesnet bringing him down, and 2 standing. It's here. King with the Bucky. He's traded. It's spraying. It's random. It's a prey. There'll be no blessings on the other side of that one. Not for Leviatán. Crew winning map number 1 here.
And in absolutely dominant fashion, Crew showcasing that their map pick to start things off of Split is one where they are utterly in control. Playing to their strengths as being a team that neutralizes defensive aggression and has excellent ways of being able to take map control. The combination of the Sky and the Raze, with Davies to be able to take first contact and teleport away if any danger occurs. It plays to their strengths immaculately. And I just keep thinking about what Valen said, you know, take their permaban as map 3, just in case you win the first 2 cleanly. And with how good Crew look here, and how little we saw out of Leviatán in terms of specific ways of stopping them from executing their game plan, we're about to go into Pearl, where I feel like they just do the same kind of stuff. Mix up the tempo, have great ways of taking map control. They stop the defenders from getting aggressive. How does Lev respond?
There needs to be that response as we head deeper and deeper into this series. The grand finals of LCQ, map number 1, wrapped up here. Dominant fashion here for Crew. Certainly that break not tempering the form that they've been in. That's going to do it. Let's send it down to the analyst desk after this, just to break it all down.
Have you ever asked yourself after a bad game, what am I missing? Or sought help from impatient friends? Or browsed desperately for answers that only bring up more questions? Your self-doubting days are over with Discovery, the first game-focused AI. Discovery is trained on the world's leading esports athletes to be your everyday personal coach. That's right, Discovery can help you improve your gameplay by giving you tips and strategies to take your game to the next level. Get started at aimlabs.com/discovery.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.